Welcome to Real Deal. I'm Tara.
And I'm Giselle.
And this week we are talking about the 2024 release, I Saw the TV Glow, directed by Jane Schoenbrun. A little bit about the description. Teenager Owen is just trying to make it through life in the suburbs when his classmate introduces him to a mysterious late-night TV show, a vision of a supernatural world beneath their own. In the pale glow of the television, Owen's view of reality begins to crack.
The movie stars Justice Smith. He has been in lots of movies, it feels like, lately, including The Magical Society of
Negroes, right? Wasn't he in Dungeons and whatever, D&D,
yes,
the D&D movie?
He was in that, and I feel like he was in something else.
He's been so busy lately, I feel like.
Yeah, and then Bridget Lundy Payne, who was in Atypical. She played the sister.
Right.
And she also is the second character. Besides that, those are two main characters in this movie. It also touches on the main character played by Justice Smith, Owen, his mother and stepfather.
Fred Durst.
Who's played by Fred Durst. Jesus Christ, Fred Durst. Yeah, scary guy in that movie.
Yeah.
And then Maddie, who is played by Bridget. She has like a friend or two, but they connect to this show called The Pink Opaque. And man, this movie just really was crazy.
It knocked us on our ass, you guys.
Yeah.
It really did.
Honestly. Well, we watched it last night, I should say.
Fresh in our minds today.
So this movie has a 3.7 on Letterboxd.
Somehow,
we will get into that later, but let's talk about our expectations going into this movie.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? What did you expect?
I know we talked a little bit yesterday about how different our social media feeds are. For me, there's so many people, movie critics that I follow everywhere, and so my feeds on every app are like polluted with movie reviews and stuff like that, and so I was seeing the positive reviews. I was bookmarking people's like lengthy personal reviews of it without reading it. I was like, okay, I see that. I'm just going to bookmark it and scroll. But I heard that it was good and I was excited. And I really liked the trailer too, because I feel like I'm so into like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And like niche little like analog horror things like that. So I was very excited for this.
Yeah, I was excited for it. I saw the trailer in theaters. However, I will say, like, I did not read the description of this movie. I didn't see, like, I don't, as we touched on, like, me and Tara's feeds are really different. I intentionally do not follow, like, movie people just because I don't like other people's opinions on my timeline unless I'm looking for them, which is when I just, like, look on Letterboxd. So I was like pretty safe in that regard, but I also like, I didn't know who the director was. Like I didn't know, I knew it was starring like Justice Smith and Bridget Lundy Payne, but I didn't know anything else besides that. And besides what I saw in the trailer. Also like the last time I saw this trailer, I don't know why it feels like it doesn't play for every movie.
No, I don't think it does.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's been a minute since I saw the trailer for this. So I was kind of out of my mind, and yeah, I really went in pretty blind with this.
I think the last time I saw the trailer for this was Problemista.
Yeah.
Because that's also A24, also Emma Stone produced.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably when I saw it last.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think we should just dive right into it. Man. I want to preface beforehand also, like, I love this movie.
Yeah.
I have been sitting with it now for some hours, and I put it in my top 4 on Letterboxd.
Wow.
It's sitting pretty comfortably there. Yeah. And I apologize if it sounds like I have a lack of enthusiasm for this movie. I swear I don't. It was just like, it just took so much out of me emotionally.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
It honestly like moved me and rocked me to my core.
Yeah, it drained me. I think when you watch that trailer, you're like, oh, this might be like scary. Yeah, it was. not in the way that you're gonna think it was.
Yeah, this is definitely a horror movie in a way that is like it was scary. It was scary, but not in like a traditional horror sense of the word.
It was unsettling. It made me feel seen and also so uncomfortable.
Like uncomfortably vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think you could compare this to oh my gosh, I can't remember this movie where she like breaks up with her boyfriend. It's a Netflix movie.
I don't know.
I'm gonna remember it. Give me a minute. I'm gonna remember.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on a little bit of the crew that we have here for a second.
Oh, I'm thinking of Ending Things. I feel like it's
I've never seen that.
Is also very similar in the sense that it's just like dread. It's just this sense of dread the whole film, and it kind of never leaves you. That's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay. Then we'll have to check that out too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Ending Things on Netflix. It was produced by Emma Stone and also her husband, Dave McCary, which I think is interesting.
Another moment in which I forget Emma Stone is not 17 and is married with children.
Yeah, this is her seventh producer credit. And she only has like 2 or 3 other movies out. I think her other movies that she has producer credits on are coming up.
Damn.
Like
This and Problemista is a crazy too.
Yeah, I mean, and Poor Things. I mean, all about identity. And I think that's crazy. Danny Cohen, who I adore. He produced Iron Claw. He produced Zone of Interest, and he produced Beau is Afraid.
A very busy 2 years for him.
Yeah. Also, like,
damn.
All 3 of those movies are intensely like emotional. Yeah. You know, so I feel like that is a natural producer for this movie.
I want to know who did sound design for this, I think, because this was so intense, and I think that sound design really just crawled under my skin, and like
Alex G composed the soundtrack and the score.
Right.
And he did a fantastic job. All of the music in this movie is beautiful and heart-wrenching. And I have to say, like, the most impactful performance from some of those like musical scenes were the scene of the Mohawked Woman. It's by the band. It's crazy. A song called Psychic Wound by a band called King Woman.
Ooh.
And honestly, like, dude, I just like sobbed through that whole thing. It would just felt like raw emotion. And when I tell you I cried from like the last third of this movie, it was just crying the whole time. Yeah. And then Kingston was like, "Are you laughing?" And I was like, "I'm crying," because I was just going and just like you know.
I think going in, even if you don't go into this movie blind, you really don't know what you're in for. I think if you are queer or, you know, I think if you're queer or you're not cis or like, I think this is a movie that is a mandatory watch. I think I identified so much with it, and that's what made it so uncomfortable, is like seeing yourself on the screen. Like it's very obvious, again, spoiler territory. It's very obvious that, you know, what we're talking about here and the metaphors we're seeing here is that Owen and Maddie both identify as being trans. Yeah. And that's a journey that they both approach really differently. And so, you know, when Maddie disappears and she makes the decision to free herself from the life that would kill her, you know, that would be repressing who she is and repressing her identity. And then on the other side of that, you have Owen, who chooses to deny it, chooses to repress that, to run away from it, to do everything he can to keep it stuffed inside of himself.
And also dealing with the effects of abuse.
Yeah.
And how that fear of, you know, your abuser, of feeling trapped, of like repression just affects you, and, you know, everything builds and builds and builds. And throughout certain points in your life, you do have like these explosive moments of like crying and being like, I don't know what I'm doing, or also like, this is fucked up, I'm sick of feeling this way.
Yeah, having to let it out, having to just have that moment. And then I think it's so well portrayed in the scene where Owen is watching TV much later in adulthood. And it's like, oh, it's not even scary. Oh, it's just, I feel embarrassed that I was even into this, that I was even interested. And I feel like that is an experience that, you know, so many queer young people go through when you're just kind of in denial and not wanting to, you know, be open with yourself. You revert back to just repressing it, to being like, that's not even true. That's not even relatable. It's not even good anymore. I don't even like the things that I thought that I liked. That's not even who I am. You know, just lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Ugh.
There was so much pain in this movie, and you felt it all the way through. I really admire the stylistic choice to use the trans flag and colors throughout the whole movie.
Everywhere.
It was really beautiful, and it was in everything, you know? Yeah. It was in every little detail. It was in every piece of lighting.
All the set design, even costuming, I would say.
Yeah. I think this is definitely the representation for trans people that I think is much needed, and I think will help a lot of people understand the experience a little bit more of trans people and queer people in general. Because, you know, so many heartbreaking things happen to the transgender community, and they have such a high rate of death and mortality, and, you know, that is a community that is like marginalized even now. Like I feel like we're barely just accepting like queerness, and
barely.
Like barely.
And we acknowledged this in the car yesterday when we were talking about how privileged we are to live in California and live in the Bay Area, because I feel like we're barely touching that here.
Right.
But living somewhere else, like not even close.
Not even close at all. And no less like transness. And we see it all the time in the news and whatever, like trans people not being able to use the fucking bathroom. And crazy shit that just denies human identity when transness has been around since the beginning of time. Yeah. Androgyny and gender fluidness and queerness and has always been around. And
there's not enough mainstream media representation. I know things exist, but not to this level, I think. And not in such a different direction. I think this movie really goes hand in hand with horror, and I think that the true horror of it is, you know, kind of burying who you are and who you are meant to be, you know, in place of wanting to fit in and wanting to choose what's comfortable, even if it'll kill you. Yeah. And so I really appreciate how well Jane blends horror and those kinds of interests with these topics. And
there's honestly so much I could say about this movie. Every facet of it was just like so deeply personal.
The nostalgia aspect too.
Let's go into the nostalgia about it. And like the VHS, the connection is something physical and like to a physical form of media. Tangible. And it harkens back to like the physicalness of like being able to be who you are too, you know.
Taking that home and her making copies for Owen that he can take home every day and watch. You know, having those TV guides too that really lets you immerse yourself into this world, into the pink opaque and into that universe. You know, I feel like being born at the tail end of the 90s, we've left behind so much physical media, and that was kind of already dying. But I felt such close relation to my copies of movies, you know, to my VHS tapes, to my CDs, and you just don't have that now, and it's so much harder to have that relationship with media, I think. I mean, stan culture, like, aside, because that's totally a different thing to me. I feel like that's obsession. But, I mean, I don't know. I just really related to Owen, seeing yourself on TV, seeing this alternate universe and feeling like, God, that makes me feel less alone. For an hour a day, I can feel understood, or for 30 minutes a day, I can feel very seen.
Right. And I think that it taps into fandom a little bit and community and being able to have a space where you can be yourself and connect with other people that have the same experiences that you may have. And enjoying this piece of art that touches you in this way and connects so deeply to who you are and the qualities about yourself. It was just like so touching and crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know. I have so many thoughts that I can't nail them down.
I think this is a second watch movie. Like, I think I need a second watch,
I definitely will need a second watch of this. I think that, you know, the monologue that Maddie delivers towards the end, I broke down.
Yeah.
Just the use of practical effects, I also want to commend. Lighting and costuming, makeup, like special effects makeup in some of the monsters and stuff. Mm-hmm. It was so beautiful. And
dude, yeah. Mr. Melancholy.
Yeah.
Jesus. And
Soup party.
You think that scene is kind of funny too until he starts talking. Like when he's like, he turns around and you're like, haha, like that looks so crazy. And then he's just like, you won't even know that you're dying. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, like Owen doesn't even know that, you know, you are decaying from the inside out, denying yourself the ability to be who you want to be. Yeah. You know, and then we see that at the end when he's screaming in front of everyone at a birthday party and no one's paying attention to him. They don't even notice. He cuts himself open and the show is inside of him. You know, it's like his nostalgia is an escape and also a prison at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And that scene where he's apologizing.
Yeah. And that's the end. That
Sorry
being the end.
Earlier. Oh my God.
No one's acknowledging it either. Mm-hmm. You spend your whole life walking through and apologizing to other people. Ooh. Such a parallel too, I think, to think about all of the, not theories, I guess, because I feel like it's probably true, right? Where, you know, Maddie has this realization that like we are Tara and Isabel. You know, that is us. We have been buried, and like you are in this alternate universe that Mr. Melancholy threatened you with, and like you have to come back. You have to dig yourself out of the grave. And so that monologue where Maddie's really going into it and talking about burying herself alive and crawling herself back out, you know, and Owen's just refusing.
Yeah.
He's collapsing on the football field and telling himself that if he doesn't look at it, it's not real. Yeah. You know, it's not there.
And then he hurts her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's hurt himself. Mm-hmm. And he's dealing with his own discomfort. And he doesn't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And then he waits for her to come back and she never does.
Yeah.
You know? And that was really sad. Ugh. It was just so deeply sad. And I think that something that I appreciate about living through modern times is I can go on TikTok and see people's opinions.
Yeah.
And that's been like really interesting too. Especially like opinions of the trans folk that watched it and their opinions on it. This morning, I watched this like really impactful TikTok of a woman named Alice. Mm-hmm. I wish I remembered her user, but she was talking about how she saw this movie and it was so beautiful to her, especially because she's a trans woman who at one point had detransitioned, and she felt like that was connected to her like repression of herself.
Wow.
You know, because she had already transitioned to female, and then from like 22 to 27 she said she had detransitioned and then came back to it after that and was like, no, this is who I am.
Wow.
And it's just like amazing to hear these stories of like trans experience, especially tying into the story that it seems that most people like identify with. And even like you said, like yourself and myself, it's so like deeply intimate and personal to everybody that has like queer experiences or also just like experiencing sort of like not being understood, misunderstood. Yeah. And it touches everyone in like really this sort of way. And if not to you personally, like the experiences of other people around you.
Yeah, at least somebody that you know. I think this is a movie for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's like a mandatory watch.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah, because we did say last night, and you mentioned now, like, we were talking about how we do live in a bubble, and I think that this is the perfect amount of digestibility for somebody who isn't fully like tapped in with trans people in their community, or they don't know any trans people themselves, or
they themselves are questioning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hopefully this helps, you know, someone. And I think that it has, you know, it's touched so many people already. And I think this is going to be a cult, like, classic movie.
I think so too. I would love to see more acclaim for this.
Me too.
You know, when I think about award shows, it feels bleak thinking about it.
Yeah.
It really feels bleak thinking about some of the bangers that we've seen this year. Like, not just this, but also Problemista, which is such a great movie on identity and belonging, and like just how hard it is to make it in this country. And I feel like I could see this and that being shut out, which is such a bummer. But I hope that maybe fan attention will do it wonders, because I think the reviews are pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's good.
Which it also shocks me to see, like, the 3.7 rating on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
Because everyone I know gives it, like, a 4 to 4.5 to 5. You know, everyone is like, this is a great movie. But then, like, some people just really didn't appreciate the way it ended, it seems. Yeah. Or they didn't appreciate the abruptness of it.
And I think that the abruptness is so intentional. I think it 100%. Needed to be like that, because for some people, that repression does kill you. For some people, that assimilation is the end of your life. It does, you know, that is it.
Or it's the death of your former self, you know? Like, not everything is going to have a happy ending or like a closure, you know?
Yeah, I don't think it needed to have something like that. I think that it was good for it to be real. And I think the true ending is Maddie walking through the chalk in the neighborhood, right? Yeah. And I think it says it's never too late.
Yeah.
Hey, curtains closed. That's it for me. Like, that was enough. Mm-hmm. That was enough. Those parallels between those two characters, and that just is the reality, I feel like. And I feel like we're so, I don't know, maybe, is that like an American thing that you just need to have like a cute little ending to every movie, like put a bow on it?
I think it's so American because it's so Disney.
Yeah. You know? But like, the movies don't have happy endings. They just don't. If Problemista didn't have a happy ending, that shit would have been real as fuck. It was good and excellent still anyway. And they went to the future fucking miles and years ahead, but it doesn't always have a happy ending. I don't know.
Right.
Come on, people.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, it's the reality.
Yeah.
You know,
it is.
I think it is that. And man, this movie, I think that I've never seen a movie with this like level of like messaging impact on me before.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure there is one, but like not one that I can think of off the top of my head. So like, was it really impactful? Like, I don't know. I feel like this is just, no other movie has like hit all of these topics and feelings before.
Yeah.
In this way.
I think so. I think when it comes to queerness, I think when I think of movies that have touched me personally, like this movie aside, it would be this, and it would be Problemista. I did sob my eyes out during Problemista. Same. There was a good 30 minutes of me just like obnoxiously crying, and my boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. We don't talk about it. It's okay." And Return to Seoul I watched too, and that's also an excellent movie about identity. You guys are sensing a theme here with our episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, heavily about identity and mother relationships, and that one also had me like, "Ooh." Can put that on the shelf for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that the uncomfortability and like the too realness, I think for me, maybe the not comparable, but like a similar feeling that I had was Lady Bird. Like,
oh yeah,
like that. I don't know, just like the ending scene where she's driving away and then she has the letter, and just, I don't know.
Her mom won't come to see her at the airport.
It just felt so uncomfortable, you know?
That was real. Yeah.
But it was uncomfortable in like an intimate like way. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
This movie was so good.
It was, yeah. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah, I don't even know what else to say. Like, Jesus. I honestly like was just like sobbing through it all. Also, guys, I may or may not have been a little gassed up.
Giselle's actually the strongest soldier because some of those scenes, if I had seen those intoxicated, I would be pulling the fire alarm in the theater.
Yeah, no, I was feeling things in my skin.
There's no way.
And that's not the only reason why I think this is a great movie, all right?
No, it's not.
So I had a little bit of wheeze. The color impact was a little bit more intense.
You're so brave.
But this was honestly such a good movie. It was so emotional.
Yeah. I think this is one of my favorites for the year.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And it'll definitely be a rewatch.
Oh, yeah. I think I need to. I think that's a mandatory rewatch. Just for me to understand everything better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go see it, you guys.
100% go see it.
Let us know what you think. Let us know what it made you feel.
Don't let the intensity of the movie keep you from watching it.
Yeah. It's just, I think everybody should go watch it.
I think so, too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.